Hi guys, it's Mrs. Kushner, and today we are going to take a look at part 2 of our text annotations. So make sure you have your notes ready to go, and let's get started. In this video, you will learn 5 more tips for annotating a text. So thinking back, we talked about how reading is this ultimate treasure hunt, when we actively read, we are digging through that text, looking for the good stuff, looking for those hidden nuggets of theme, or looking for those hidden nuggets of literary devices, figurative language, that type of thing. And we talked about in class how we have 3 key things that annotations must follow. You can choose how to annotate, but they must follow these 3 rules to make strong annotations. Rule 1, have a key or a clear code. Usually you're not going to annotate just one paragraph or just one sentence. Usually you're going to be annotating a chapter or even a full book or a full short story, a full poem. You want to make sure that you are using a key and keeping track of that key, because otherwise you're going to get to the bottom of page 1, you're going to get to page 2, and you're going to forget. And so writing down that key, actively writing down on your paper, pink means theme, blue means similes, will keep you organized as you read. Next, rule 2, use a variety of colors and markings. Whether you use colors or symbols doesn't really matter, but you want to use a variety of them to mean different things. So if you only have one pen, that's fine, but then use different notes to make different meanings. Stars mean one thing, squiggle lines mean another, straight lines mean a third thing. Or you could do that in colors, pink, blue, purple. Done. Finally, it's be consistent. Whatever you choose to do for your key and for your markings, make sure that they consistently mean the same thing throughout the whole story. If stars mean one thing on page 1 and a totally different thing on page 5, we're going to confuse ourselves. All right, so these 5 new tips I mentioned. Number 1, add your reactions. We as readers, we talked about this being an active process. Well, that means that you're going to be reacting to the text. So go ahead and write that in your annotations. Those are awesome notes to have. If it makes you feel a certain emotion, it makes you feel frustrated at a character, go ahead and write it. If you felt joy at a moment, absolutely. Your reaction could also be confusion, and maybe your comment that you're writing, your reaction, is a question. Why did Cassie respond this way in Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry? That's amazing. That's a great question. Next, tip 2, don't commit highlighter abuse. I know this one is totally easy to do. I've done it myself. But basically, the more you highlight, the less meaningful those highlights are. So before you ever pick up your highlighter, before you ever uncap it, I want you to question yourself, wait, do I need to highlight this entire sentence? Or could I highlight just a phrase? And even if it's just a phrase, go ahead and question, do I need this whole phrase? Or am I really just targeting a couple words in that phrase? Make that educated, thoughtful decision. Tip 3, adapt to the situation. In our case, we don't own the school books, so you can't write directly in the books like we did with the short story. That's okay. Be adaptable. Maybe that means you use flags and post-it notes. That works. Maybe that means you try to find a PDF and you put that PDF of the pages into OneNote where you can mark it up on OneNote. Awesome. Go old school. Ask to use the copier. Copy the pages on the copier. Mark it up on the page. Also works. Adapt to whatever is going to work for you best. Tip 4, adapt to the text as well. Different texts are going to have different features. one text we're going to read this year might be super, super heavy on theme. The next story we might read might be saturated in figurative language. So just remember, different texts and different authors use different tools. It's okay when you read a text if you're like, whoa, why is there so much of this one thing and none of the other? That's okay. That could just be an indication of the tools that the author chose to use. And finally, tip 5, annotate nonfiction too. We talk a lot about annotating poetry or fiction, books, short stories, but hey, nonfiction gets time too. It's important too. The same rules, keeping a key, keeping consistent, using a variety of markings, the same rules apply. It's just that instead of annotating for theme or figurative language, instead you're going to be annotating for maybe persuasive techniques or claims the author is making and the evidence he's using to back it up. So there you have it, 5 top tips. In this lesson, you learned 5 new considerations when annotating a text. And finally, take action now. As always, write a question about today's lesson on your notes. If you have no questions about today's notes, then think about the part that your friend or classmate might find confusing. Write the question you think they will have to bring to class tomorrow at the bottom of your notes. All right, great work today, and I'll see you next time.